This year alone, I've traveled to over 25 countries around the world. Having a US passport obviously helps with traveling visa-free to as many countries as you want, but I renounced my US citizenship. I'm no longer entitled to a US passport. So what countries can I no longer visit? What countries I need to ask permission and get a visa before going that I had access to with my US passport? I now have 3 other passports that I've added on, and I can also go to many other countries visa-free that I couldn't before with my US passport, but it's still limited. It's still not as good as the full access I had with the US passport. The first country that stands out that I need a visa to go to is obviously the United States of America, where my family lives, where I was born a citizen. I was born in Puerto Rico, therefore being entitled to US citizenship by birth, and then being entitled to a US passport. I use my US passport to travel all over the world, and now I can't go back to the US without actually applying for a formal visa, and I've heard that getting a tourist visa or a business visa to the US is quite hard, although it is in my plans later on. A lot of people say that if you renounce US citizenship, you can never get access to the US. That is not true. If you have a passport, a citizenship, that has ESTA, Electronic Travel Authority access to the United States, essentially visa-free access. All you need to do is fill out a form and you get that access to the United States, like a Spanish passport, a German passport. Then you can then go to the United States whenever you want, even if you renounce your US citizenship. And that is my plan, to get a Tier A passport, like a Spanish passport. That's one of my goals, in order to regain that access to the United States later on. The next country that stands out is Australia. Although I don't need a transit visa from Australia, I can go to Australia and transit through Australia. If I actually want to enter Australia and check out the country, which I've already done, I spent 2 months in Australia exploring all the different cities. Honestly, I could live my whole life without going back to Australia, although it's a beautiful country. I love the kangaroos and I love the koalas. I now need a visa to enter Australia, but I can transit through it visa-free with my Mexican passport. The next country, even though I have 3 other nationalities, I still can't go visa-free to Brunei. I lost access to it once I renounced my US citizenship because Brunei is a really hard country to get visa-free access to. Although I'm not really interested in going to Brunei. I've been to Malaysia, I've been to Thailand, I've been pretty much all over Southeast Asia. Brunei has been the country that I have not been to, and I've heard that it's not that great to go to anyway. The next one that I lost access to is South Africa. Even though I can get an e-visa with my Mexican passport, I lost that visa-free access to South Africa. South Africa, a lot of people don't know this, but it's a hard country to get visa-free access to. You don't have visa-free access with St. Kitts citizenship, although you have visa-free access with Antigua and Barbuda citizenship. So if you go through that route, you will have access to South Africa. With St. Kitts, with Serbia, with Mexico, I still don't have visa-free access to South Africa, and I need to ask for an electronic visa. If you are European or you're Canadian or you're American, you can easily go to South Africa, but many other people can't. And it's definitely a country that I want to visit in the future, although it's quite dangerous. I have a lot of friends, I have a lot of business acquaintances in South Africa, and I definitely want to visit. The next country, I don't think that many people are visiting it. Not that many people want to go there, but it's the Central African Republic. This massive country in the center of Africa that unfortunately has had to deal with a lot of wars and a lot of instability. Now I need to ask for a visa to go to CAR, the Central African Republic. They actually proposed a citizenship by investment program through crypto. A lot of people obviously were not interested because it's not a good passport for visa-free access, but it is a country that I now need to get a visa if I want to go to. I didn't need to get a visa on my US passport. And the last country that I now need a visa for is Sao Tome and Principe. Also in Africa. I've heard that it's some beautiful islands. I've heard that you can get citizenship if you invest in the country, if you contribute to the country. Although it's not a great passport, if you see the future in Africa and you think that Africa will continue to improve and develop, obviously throughout the decades, then Sao Tome and Principe could be a passport that you want to go for. I've never visited Sao Tome and I don't really have plans on going there, and I now need a visa to go there, which is kind of funny. 2 African countries, now I need a visa to go to them, whereas I didn't need a visa with my US passport. Now, for the countries that I have gained, because I've gained visa-free access to multiple countries around the world that I didn't have with my US passport, mainly Russia, which I got with the St. Kitts citizenship, as well as Serbian, and also China, which I got through my Serbian passport. US citizens obviously require a visa to go to Russia. If you want to do anything in Russia, you will need a visa, especially now because of the conflict. And China, although you can transit visa-free, you can also transit visa-free with a Mexican passport. You need a visa to stay there long-term, and I don't need a visa to stay up to 30 days. I also have Turkey, which you gain with St. Kitts citizenship. You need an e-visa with a US passport. It's kind of funny that a St. Kitts citizenship gets you into Turkey, but the US citizenship, you require a visa for Turkey. It's kind of a weird play there, but I also gained visa-free access to Turkey. And just to add to all of this, a lot of people don't know that the Mexican passport is actually one of the top passports in the world. Yes, you don't have access to the US or Australia, but you have access to pretty much any other country that you want to go to. Canada, UK, Schengen area, New Zealand, Thailand. You have pretty much access to all the world except those two big countries and the other ones that I mentioned, South Africa with the e-visa and also the African countries. If you want to visit pretty much any of the world, apart from those, then the Mexican passport could be a great choice for you. If you're looking to get a second passport to potentially renounce your US citizenship or just to have a backup plan and a backup country you can rely on, check out this video right here on the best citizenships in a new world order. We're entering a new world order and the world is getting more restrictive and they want to take your freedom. Make sure to get those citizenships in order to stay free.